Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kyra and today is my January Shop My Stash with my friend Kelly from GlamWithKelly. This month, Kelly and I decided upon the theme of Underdog products. These are products that either the brand is an Underdog, you don't hear these products spoken about too much on YouTube, things like that. But before we get into the new products, I'm just going to briefly go over the two products from December that happened to be my favorite and that I felt like I got the most use out of or enjoyed the most. The eyeshadow palette that I felt like I enjoyed the most last month was definitely the chocolate gold. I did a few looks with this, including one in my 5 days of glitter and glam, and I'm just back in love with this. I think I'm going to continue to love on this all this year. This is probably my favorite Too Faced palette that I own. And then the other palette, while I loved and adored this palette before December, in fact I had it for a year in December of 2019, it's this Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Unlocked. I really enjoyed this palette in December, and I really found some ways to make this palette work for me. For me, this highlighter is a little bit on the glaring, glowing, super shiny side. So what I did with that is I mixed it with this face powder, a finishing powder, and it just made the perfect, very natural highlight, which is what I'm into right now. I also did the same thing with the bronzer. The bronzer's a little warm for me at this stage in the year, so I went ahead and mixed it with this little bit more cooler toned finishing powder, and it worked beautifully. And then I did the same thing with the blushes. I either mixed them together, or like this orangey one is very, very glowy, so sometimes I mixed it with this finishing powder or even a titch of the bronzer, and I really liked it that way. So as much as I loved this before, I love it more now because I feel like I can make it do what I want it to do. So that was the December products in review. I want to remind you to go check out my girl Kelly over at GlamWithKelly. She will be linked down below, of course. And I can't wait personally to see which Underdog products she went with this month. So all the products that will be on my face today will be listed down in the description box below. So for powder, I have this Clinique All Aglow palette. I believe this is from holiday 2018. And it's a recommendation from my girl Kelly, and we're going to use the Mattify powder in here. I've been enjoying trying the different powders and the different face palettes that I've been putting into my Shop My Stash videos. I love face palettes, but I tend to reach for them more for the colored products, the colored cosmetics that lie within, and so I've been trying to make better use out of the powders, and this is the Shop My Stash series has definitely been helpful for that. January is my birthday month. In fact, my birthday is in 6 days when you guys are seeing this, and I'm going to be 38 years old. Kind of crazy if you ask me. It's just surreal more than anything. Like, I don't get up in arms about getting older or birthdays or anything like that. That's just not me. For bronzers, I have two. One is the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Bronze It. This was a Journey and Beauty Award winner this year. I love this. This is perfect for my skin right now, so I probably will go with this one today. And then the other one is the Get Bronzed shade from the Clinique All Aglow palette. This has got to be one of the most underrated or Underdog products from the drugstore, in my opinion, especially bronzer wise. I don't always find a ton of bronzers from the drugstore that I love, and so I don't know. When Kelly kept talking about this bronzer on her channel, I was like, man, All right. I had looked at this bronzer actually at Walmart previously, and I was like, oh, it looks kind of shimmery. And I like a satin bronzer, but I'm not super into a shimmery bronzer unless, you know, more so for summer. And even at that, more so for like summer glam. So anyways, I was like, you know what? Kelly had made some really amazing recommendations to me. And so I decided to go ahead and pick it up, and I love it. It is like currently my favorite bronzer. All right, so we do have that beautiful blush in the Clinique palette called Blush and Brighten. I actually really love this, but I do want to bring in the other two little blushes that I have for my Shop My Stash this month. And I have to say, Emily Noel is, I think, the only person that I ever hear talk about these, and they are the CoverGirl Instant Cheekbones. This one's in Sophisticated Sable. This one, I'm not for sure. I wrote it down. I think it's in the shade Refined Rose. I don't know if they're discontinuing these. I mean, they still have them at my Walmart, but when I looked them up online, I could not find this one anywhere. So I'm gonna first go into the little center shade here with this Ulta Beauty blush brush. And I like to just kind of swish this over the whole cheekbones, even almost to the point of draping a little bit, and then go back in with the deeper shade for like, you know, a pop on the apples of the cheek. I am going to be going for kind of a berry goldish eye today with one of the palettes I chose for this month. So that's kind of where I'm going, if you're wondering why I'm wearing pink blush with a very yellow sweater. And I'm gonna go into the little bit deeper tone here, pick some up, and just focus this on the apples. So I would almost say that these have a similar effect on the cheeks as some of my Hourglass blushes. They're just glowing and healthy looking. I'm gonna take my little Real Techniques highlighting brush and go into this really pretty pink highlight. I'm just gonna try and focus this right here first, kind of this little C shape that goes around the outside of my eye, like this. And then once I have most of it off, I'll bring it in toward the apple just to make sure everything is blended. These are definitely subtle highlighters, but again, that's like totally my jam these days. So, and I do love a pink highlighter. I think right after champagne and peach highlighters, I really like pink highlighters. And this is definitely the time of year for me to wear pink highlighters when I'm at my palest. Otherwise, they can look kind of weird on me. I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm not really much into New Year's or anything like that anymore. It's safe to say my party days are over. Alright, I'm just going to settle down the powders on my face using my Mario Badescu Sage and Orange Blossom. So I have 3 eyeshadow palettes for January, each one an Underdog in my opinion. The first one is the one that I am currently working on a 7 looks video with. Grammar. And it is the ABH and Jackie Aina palette. I feel like this is an Underdog because I feel like she kind of got shafted with her release with the Norvina palettes coming out so quickly and then the Carly palette. I just don't feel like Jackie got her day in the sun. And then the second one that I'm also not going to use today, and it has a couple of face shades in it as well, so we'll see if I can find a way to make those work. But this palette just sits and sits and sits in my drawer, and it is a beautiful palette. I think it's definitely highly underrated, and it's an Underdog, and you just really don't see anybody talk about this palette, but it is good, and it is the Tarte Clay Play Volume 1. This is what it looks like. Here are the face shades, and here are the eyeshadows. Of course, you can use the face shades on your eyes and, you know, vice versa, whatever you want to do. So I am going to try and reach for this one a lot this month and pair it with other palettes and other shimmers. And then the palette we are going to use today, and I cannot wait to use more in this month, is the Urban Decay Born Terrain palette. I do have a series on my channel which is called Reviving My, and each month I pick a different palette to bust out, do a couple of looks with it, 2 or 3, and try to create new looks and re-inspire myself with the palette. And this month it is going to be the Born Terrain palette. And I know a lot of us have this, but I think this again is definitely an Underdog palette. I think this is one of the better Urban Decay palettes that I've tried personally. So like I said, I kind of want to do like a gold berry neutral festive eye today. So I'm going to go ahead and prime my eyes. Alright, for transition, I'm going to start out with the shade Weekender. If you don't watch Mandy Lee here on YouTube, I'm going to link her down below because she did a look, actually she did 2 holiday looks with this palette, and one of them had like a pop of berry and a crease, and I just really enjoyed that look. So that's a little bit, ooh, brush hair, little bit of where I'm taking my inspiration from. So I'm curious if you had to pick any eyeshadow palette as your Underdog product, what would it be? What do you think people just aren't loving on enough? Okay, this brush is pissing me off. Next, I'm going to go into this shade right here, which is called Hell Ride, with a smaller, fluffier brush. I have been dancing my butt off this Christmas break, hopefully literally. Usually for Christmas Eve, we usually gift the kiddos, our kiddos, a board game and a DVD. But this year, the kids asked if instead we could get Just Dance 2020 for my son's Nintendo Switch. And man, was that a good idea. We have been enjoying that so much. The day that we opened the game, we literally played it for 4 hours, the 4 of us, and it was so fun. We love board games, but we have a ton of them, and so when the kids suggested that, I was like, yeah, why not? Even when we have company from out of town, like my sister and her husband, that's one of the things we do for fun, and we might even have a cocktail or something while doing it, loosen us up, you know, make things a little lighter and fun, and really enjoy that. I think I want to put just a tiny bit of this more metallic one. It's not super metallic, this particular shade, but it's called Wild Heart. I'm just going to put a little bit of this on the outermost part of the lid and just the tiniest bit into the crease to deepen it a little bit. And I know a lot of people felt like the berry shades in this palette were not the strongest, and they're really not. I mean, they're not the strongest by any means of shimmers that I've used, but I like them. I do. I really like this palette. That's why I put it in this month, because I do think it's underrated, and I really want to play with it some more. And, you know, one of the goals I always have when putting a palette into my Shop My Stash or my Reviving series where I bring back old palettes is I'm always aiming to create looks I haven't created before. I think I mentioned that my son got a bearded dragon for Christmas, and that has been really, really fun. For those of you that are Game of Thrones fans, you might call me a mother of dragons, or just dragon. His name's Smog. He's so cute. We think he's probably just a month or so old, and so he's really teeny tiny, but he's gonna get big, and he's gonna get big fast. And I would have to say that I absolutely think that he's grown already. I think on the lid, I'm just gonna go ahead and go in with this shade right here, which is Blaze. It's a gold, but I feel like it has It definitely has like a pinky shift to it, so I think it'll be really perfect for this look. And I'm just going to use the phalange for that and try not to bend over so you guys can see. I really like this shade. Alright, I like that. It almost makes my eyes look blank. It's very similar to my skin tone. Going back in with Wild Heart just a little and going to make sure that that berry stays present. Just tapping back and forth over where the berry and the gold meet. Alright, going back into Hell Ride, this deepest shade right here with a little small dense domed brush with fuzz, as always. I'm going to pick up Hell Ride, and I'm just going to take that on the very outer part of the lid. And then I'm going to take it on the lower lash line. Probably just about the outer third, a good amount of color, and then just kind of fade it a little bit in. If you feel like pink tends to make you look a little sickly on your eyes, you can always do this exact same thing with the deep brown. And then with the same brush, I'm just going to pick up the first shade in the palette called Breakaway. This is going to go on the inner corner, you guessed it. And now I'm going to pop off of here, do some maybe liner, definitely mascara, and finish off the brows, and we'll come back for a lip. Alright, we are back. The rest of the things that I used to finish off the eyes will be listed down below. And let's talk about the lippies for this month. I have two super lustrous lipsticks from Revlon. I don't think these have always been underrated or Underdog products, but I definitely think they are now. This is a fabulous formula, and I just want to get more use out of these. They are newer to my collection. I want to get to know them better. So this shade right here is Smoky Rose. Looks like this. Can't tell. Maybe has a slight sheen to it. And then my favorite of the two, at least thus far, is this shade right here, which is Rum Raisin. You've probably seen me wearing this quite a bit. The one we're going to use today, though, is the Ulta Beauty Lasting Color Lip Gloss Stain in the shade Monarchy. I've gone ahead and lined my lips with my MAC Whirl lip liner as per usual. And I really like this formula. It's beautiful and it's berry. So, what do we think of the finished look? I'm really loving it. I cannot wait to play with all of these products this month and report back to you next month on the things that really stood out to me, or the things that I really enjoyed, or maybe a thing that I want to declutter. You never know what we're going to do here in my journey in beauty. So with all of that said, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you leave. Like this video if you had a good time watching it. And with all of that said, I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful, berry makeup days, right? And I will see you in my next video real soon.